Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the Mark Medley Show. It is always a pleasure to be with all of you, and I thank you so much for listening and tuning in on whatever platform you may be subscribed to or following. It's appreciated more than you know. Tonight's episode, or today's episode, depending on when you're listening, is titled, It's Real Easy to Be Raggedy. And if you've been listening to either one of my shows for any length of time, whether it be the Reading Circle with Mark Medley or this podcast, the Mark Medley Show, then you know one of my hot buttons, one of my things that really irks me is this whole notion of actually going to a store and putting down money or handing over money to a cashier to actually buy a product that's damaged, a product that's already torn, a product that's already ripped. And I'm sure by now you figured out that I'm referring to the fad or the style of ripped jeans. And ever since that style or that fad has come out, I have constantly questioned, what is it that would cause someone to go to a store and plunk money down and probably pay more than you would for a pair of jeans that's whole, that's not ripped, just to be in style? But then it dawned on me. It's sending a message. It's a reflection, whether people realize it or not. It is doing that. And it dawned on me. It's really easy to be raggedy. Because if I stay with the ripped jean concept, I would pretty much bet, because I don't own a pair, that you probably, once they come out to wash, if anything's left, you probably don't have to iron them. That's easy. When you put them on, there are holes and everything all over the place. That's easy. And for me, and again, the people who wear them may not have this in mind at all, but just for me, it seems that way. It appears that way. But whenever you take the example to other areas of life, in terms of work ethic, it's real easy to be undisciplined. It's real easy not have to work hard, or not working hard. That's really easy to do. Real easy to be raggedy. Because along with one of my hot buttons, and maybe that's why the ripped jeans irks me so bad, is because I hate half behind jobs. And if this wasn't a podcast, or if I wasn't on radio, I would say it another way, but you get the gist. You know what I'm talking about in terms of somebody doing a half job compared with a whole job, or compared with finishing the job. My father used to have a term for that. And matter of fact, there was one of the companies that had some fun with the word. They said half, H-A-L-F, fast, F-A-S-T. But again, you get the gist. I hate a half-fast job. And maybe that's what it is about ripped jeans that gets to me, is it looks like something that's half done. And I just look kind of at the way things are going. It just seems like that's the way to go. The grunge, the unkempt, the uncared for, the easy way out. And I work with children every day who honestly think it's okay and normal to always seek the easy way out. No desire to be disciplined whatsoever. No desire to do things in its proper or correct manner whatsoever. Because again, it's easy to be raggedy. When you're not doing something in its proper manner, that's raggedy. When you turn in an assignment that's half done, that's raggedy. When you're walking around with ripped and torn clothes on, that's raggedy. Whenever you don't know how to read and refuse to learn how to read, that's raggedy. When you don't know your multiplication tables and you won't practice and do what you need to do, that's raggedy. And as you go through life and you have to deal with the life and you have to get along in society, one is going to find that Raggedy will not always work. Raggedy may be cute in terms of buying these so-called ripped jeans and shredded shirts. And I'm going to say again, I don't see the appeal in that. But if we use that metaphor for life, society, as much as it may accept you wearing raggedy clothing, will not accept you doing raggedy work, at least not for long. You'll get away with it for a little while, but then at some point, you're going to be called to task. If the assignments or the work that you're turning into your supervisor is not up to snuff or not up to par, eventually you're going to receive some disciplinary action. And if the disciplinary action doesn't work, eventually you will be let go, or you'll be fired. And as we work with children and try to prepare them for what life is all about, that's why folks need to start speaking up against things that we just know are raggedy. No desire to do things in its proper manner. It's almost as if an opposite message is being sent. That we want to be raggedy and we're going to try to make everybody else raggedy with us. We have raggedy lifestyles. Raggedy aspirations, if any aspirations at all. And we have no problem showing the world just how raggedy we are, just to be able to say it's the style. The other day I saw a young lady with a pair of ripped jeans on that had her whole buttock cheek hanging out. And I wondered to myself, why even have it on? Why not just take it off? Raggedy. We speak in raggedy manners. Don't try to improve ourselves. And we're coming into a time in terms of technology where if you don't know how to read or you don't know how to handle yourself, you're going to be lost. Because even a simple transaction now at a restaurant is mechanized. I was at a restaurant the other night and they had this little machine that sits on top of the table that you don't even have to go to the cash register anymore. The machine spits out some directions. You tap something on the touch screen. You slide your card. It gives you the opportunity to add the amount of tip you want. It gives you options, 18%, 20%, 21%, 15%, 10%. And you have to maneuver your way through all of that. And every time I come upon a machine like that, I wonder, what does a person who cannot read, what do they do? If they go to an ATM, the automatic teller machine, it spits out so many different commands, and every time it's updated, a new set of commands come. So if you don't know how to read, I really don't know how you're going to function. And there are folks who are just as satisfied with not being able to read. There are folks who are just as satisfied with not being able to calculate. There are folks who are satisfied with not being able to think. They're happy with the raggedy. And as I go through and walk through the streets and I see how people are dressed, coming out in the street in pajamas, raggedy. Because pajamas were made for the bedroom. Or at best in the house when you're not going outside. Raggedy. No problem with being raggedy. None. And as I said, it dawned on me. The reason we don't have a problem with being raggedy, because raggedy is easy. It doesn't take much to be raggedy. It doesn't take much effort to be raggedy. It doesn't take much discipline to be raggedy. It doesn't take much work to be raggedy. Being raggedy is easy. Raggedy with our finances is easy. Don't have to track anything. Don't have to monitor anything. Easy. We're always looking for the easy way out. And the easy way is not always the best way. Because anything worth having is worth working for. You ever notice how people appreciate things they had to pay for, even if it's $1, more than they do getting something for free? I'm convinced that one of the problems with education in this country is the fact that it is free. Because when you go to other countries, They have to pay for their education. They have to pay for their transportation. They have to pay for their books. They have to pay for their lunch. In the United States of America, in the public school system, you don't have to pay for anything. As a matter of fact, you get free lunch, free breakfast. They're looking at free dinner. Again, easy. Makes it real easy for us to be raggedy. We don't have to do anything. Again, I work with a bunch of children who expect to do anything and everything and then expect good consequences to come to them. They expect to treat people any old kind of way and then are supposed to receive everything that a child that's done things in the proper manner receives. And if they don't get it, there's a big fuss, either from them or their parents. The expectations are warped, but again, it's easy to be raggedy. It doesn't take much to be raggedy. So if you get nothing out of tonight's podcast or today's podcast, I challenge you to move up from being raggedy. I challenge you to set a higher bar. I challenge you to set a higher standard. Don't be so content with being raggedy. Understand that you're making somebody that I will bet you who design those ripped and raggedy jeans, I bet you they do not wear the very ripped and raggedy jeans that they've designed. The very people that you're paying your money to, the designers, I'll bet you the CEOs of the stores that you buy those jeans out of, they do not wear ripped jeans. I'll bet you even the salesperson that you buy them for, you probably wouldn't catch them in a pair of the ripped jeans. Yet, you will go out and spend your hard-earned money. Well, maybe it wasn't hard-earned. Maybe it was easy-earned. But you will go out and spend your money on something that's going to make you look raggedy. In the last podcast, I shared with you how I was behind a gentleman the other day that he didn't buy those jeans raggedy. Those jeans became raggedy from work, something he had in his pocket, whether it was his phone or his wallet, and his riding a bicycle to work every morning, probably wearing those jeans. I shared that in the last podcast. He didn't go out and purchase those jeans raggedy. Those became raggedy from work. And most people that had any kind of self-esteem or any kind of pride whatsoever, when their clothes became raggedy, they would patch them. They would sew them up. They'd do what they could to get another pair. They wouldn't go out to the store and buy another pair that was ripped. But again, it's easy to be raggedy. It's easy to live a raggedy lifestyle. It's easy to speak in a raggedy manner, not learn any new vocabulary words. It's easy to be satisfied with nothing. Give that some thought. Take me up on my challenge. Raise the bar. Set a higher standard. Move away from raggedy. Be embarrassed to look like a rag doll. Be ashamed to look like Raggedy Ann. With that said, as always, it's a pleasure. You can get the Mark Medley Show on all the major podcast sites, the major podcast platforms, and you can catch me live on Saturday mornings on FM radio in northern New Jersey, WP 88.7 FM, and we web stream around the world on gobrave.org. That's GOBRAVE.org. Every Saturday morning from 6 o'clock a.m. to 9 o'clock a.m. Thanks again for listening. Until the next time.